Hello everyone and welcome back. Before we begin, I want you to slow down for a moment because today's topic is not just another Selenium concept. This session is extremely important. Okay, up until now we have been using locators like ID, name, class name, link text and partial link text, tag name. So these locators are simple, easy to understand and perfect when you are starting out. But here is the truth about real world automation. So in real auto applications, IDs may be missing, class names may repeat, and elements may change positions very frequently. So this is where many beginners feel stuck, and this is exactly why today's topic matters. Okay, so today we are talking about XPath, the XML path. Okay, so if you truly understand XPath, not memorize it but understand how it works, you can automate almost any web application. So no matter how complex it is, you can automate that particular application. Okay, so this is why XPath is asked in almost every Selenium interview. So this is why real automation frameworks rely heavily on XPath, and this is why strong automation engineers are confident. Okay, so in today's session we will slowly and clearly understand what XPath really is, why Absolute XPath looks easy but is dangerous, and why Relative XPath is the professional and industry preferred approach. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin. Okay, so let's start with the most basic question. What exactly is XPath? So XPath stands for XML path language. So extensive markup language. Okay, that is XML path language. Okay, so now don't worry about the word XML. You don't need to learn XML to understand XPath. So XPath is simply a way to locate elements by navigating the structure of the web page. So when a browser loads an HTML page, it converts that page into something called DOM, the document object model. So this DOM is structured like a tree. So there is a root element, there are parent elements, there are child elements, and there are sibling elements. So XPath allows Selenium to move through the structure logically. So instead of guessing where an element is, XPath tells Selenium exactly how to reach it. Okay, so let me explain DOM and path analogy with a simple real life example. Okay, so think about searching for a file on your computer. So you don't randomly click around, you just follow the path. So you might go to the drive, then a folder, then another folder, and finally the file. So XPath works in the same way. So instead of folders, we move through HTML elements. This idea that the page is a structured path is the foundation of XPath. Once this clicks in your mind, XPath stops feeling complicated. Okay. So now there are two types of XPath. One is Absolute XPath and the second one is Relative XPath. So now let's talk about something called as Absolute XPath. So the Absolute XPath starts from the very top of the DOM. Okay, it usually begins with something like /html /body and so on. Okay, so if you see the example, I will show you here. Let's try to inspect the subscribe button here. Inspect it. Okay, and then just simply you see this is under HTML. Okay, and then if you go down, it is under body, and then it is under header, and then you see the button. Okay, so if you try to add the absolute path, again it will start with a single slash here. So again just add one slash, then HTML. You see all the HTML content will highlight. Then after HTML it was under body, and then header, and then the button. Okay, so you see, so this kind of path is absolute path, so which starts from the root of the HTML, right? So that is from the root element, that is from the HTML element. Okay, so this is a absolute XPath. So at first glance this looks very precise. So many beginners think this XPath is exact, so it must be correct. But here is a problem. So So absolute expert depends on every single element above it. So let's say, for example, if this button, if you want to locate this button, it is dependent on all these elements like header, body, and HTML. Okay, so now we are taking this top element. If we try to find out this element, it will become very complicated. Okay, so if even one element in that path changes, your XPath breaks. So let's say for example, they have removed the header, and we only have HTML body and then button. So in that case, our absolute XPath will break. Okay, and in real applications, the pages changes all the time. So headers change, layout gets changed, new banners appear, extra div tags gets added. So even though absolute XPath works today, it may fail tomorrow. Okay, so this is why absolute XPath is dangerous, not because Selenium can't use it, but because it is extremely fragile. Okay, and automation is not about making something work once. Automation is about making it work consistently. So if your locator breaks every time the UI changes, your automation becomes a maintenance nightmare. All right, you will have to maintain the script for every change, and that will be very costly and very time consuming. So this is why professional automation engineers avoid absolute XPath in real project. So you may see it while learning, but you should not depend on it in the frameworks. Okay. And the second type is relative XPath. So let's talk about it. So that is the correct and a professional way. So relative XPath does not start from the root of the DOM. Instead, it starts from anywhere in the page. So let's say, for example, if we have sufficient attribute, we can start it from this page itself, right? So it usually begins with a double slash. For example, like if you want to locate this button now, we can simply go, if you see, this is the button tag, and then the name. I will use name. So I will simply start from button and then go with the name, sorry, at the rate name, and like this. So in very less elements, we should be able to find out the particular button, right? So it starts with the double slash. Absolute XPath starts with a single slash. Okay, so this is one example. Okay, so it doesn't care where the element is located. It doesn't care how many divs are above it. Okay, so it doesn't care about head, HTML, and header, body. It doesn't care about it. It simply like locate it relatively. Okay, as long as the element exists, relative XPath finds it, and this is what makes the relative XPath powerful and stable. Okay, so let's clearly compare both the approaches, absolute XPath and the relative XPath. So the absolute XPath is long, rigid, and layout dependent, and the relative XPath is short, flexible, and attribute based. Okay, the absolute XPath breaks easily, whereas relative XPath adapts to changes, and this is why every serious automation framework relies on the relative XPath and not absolute XPath. Okay, so when Selenium uses XPath in the code, it looks like find the element, looks like this, like find the element by XPath, pass the XPath expression, and perform the action. Okay, and then Selenium scans the DOM, matches the condition, and interacts with the element. So again, this is not magic, this is the structured navigation. Okay, so like let's say, for example, if you want to click on this page, you will simply, let's try to add it here. Okay, again I will comment out this. Now we will go with the XPath. Okay, and then again go to driver dot find element, and now by dot XPath we will choose, and then go with the button here. Okay, and then what we will do is we will click on the button. Okay, so now we are using the login page here. Let me go back. Okay, so yeah, it's still fine. I think we should be able to click on it on the login button. Okay, let's give it a try. Otherwise we will make some changes. Okay. Okay, you see it has clicked on the particular subscribe button, and then you see the new youtube.com like page has got opened here. Okay, so this way we can open particular we can use XPath. Okay, so there are different types of XPath we will be seeing in the upcoming lectures one by one. Okay, so to summarize today's session, XPath is the backbone of Selenium automation. Absolute XPath looks easy but very fragile, and we usually don't prefer Absolute XPath. Relative XPath is powerful and reliable. So understanding XPath gives you the confidence, and confidence is what makes automation enjoyable. Okay, so in the upcoming sessions, we will explore XPath functions, dynamic XPath strategies, and XPath access. So if this session helped you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with other learning Selenium. So I will see